Chapter 2 of Rich Dad Poor, Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, is titled The Rich Don't Work for Money. In this chapter, Kiyosaki delves deeper into the philosophy of financial independence and explains one of the core principles that Rich Dad imparted to him, that the wealthy don't work for money, but instead focus on making money work for them. This idea is foundational to the book and challenges the traditional notion that financial security comes from earning a steady paycheck. The chapter begins with Kiyosaki recounting a pivotal lesson he learned as a young boy. At the age of 9, Kiyosaki and his friend Mike approached Rich Dad to ask how they could become wealthy. Rich Dad didn't give them a straightforward answer, but instead offered them a job working at one of his small stores for a meager wage. This low-paying job served as an experiment to teach Kiyosaki an important lesson about how most people fall into the trap of working for money. Rich Dad wanted to demonstrate that working hard for a paycheck keeps people dependent on their jobs, and that this mindset keeps people stuck in the rat race. Kiyosaki quickly grew frustrated with the small salary and long hours, but rather than quitting, he confronted Rich Dad and demanded more money, as any traditional employee might. At this point, Rich Dad gave him an invaluable lesson. He explained that most people, when offered more money, will take it without questioning whether it will actually lead to financial freedom. People often get trapped in a cycle where they work harder and harder for pay increases or promotions, but this cycle does not result in true wealth. It only leads to dependency. Rich Dad pointed out that if Kiyosaki let his emotions, such as fear and desire, dictate his financial decisions, he would remain trapped in the mindset of needing to work for money rather than learning how to make money work for him. This is where Kiyosaki begins to understand the deeper meaning behind Rich Dad's lesson. He learns that the wealthy view money differently from those who struggle financially. While most people believe that earning more will solve their financial problems, the truth is that financial freedom comes from financial intelligence. It's not about how much you earn, but about how well you manage and invest the money you do have. Rich Dad taught Kiyosaki that financial literacy is far more important than a high salary. It's about learning to recognize opportunities, manage risk, and use money as a tool to build wealth, rather than as something to be earned and spent. One of the key takeaways from this chapter is how fear and greed drive most people's financial decisions. Kiyosaki observes that the fear of not having enough money drives many people to cling to their jobs, often leading them to accept the illusion of job security. On the other hand, the desire for more money often compels people to spend what they earn, creating a never-ending cycle of working for more money, spending more, and remaining dependent on their jobs. Rich Dad emphasized that this emotional response to money is what keeps people poor or middle class. Those who are financially successful, however, know how to control their emotions and don't let fear or desire dictate their choices. Rich Dad encouraged Kiyosaki to cultivate a mindset where he wasn't working for money, but working to learn. This distinction is crucial in the path to financial independence. Instead of focusing on earning more through a job, Rich Dad suggested that Kiyosaki should focus on building his financial intelligence by understanding how money works. He explained that people should look for ways to acquire income-producing assets, things like real estate, businesses, and stocks that generate passive income. This is how the rich become richer, by building portfolios of assets that generate cash flow, rather than depending on a salary. In contrast to Rich Dad's approach, Poor Dad, Kiyosaki's biological father, continued to believe in the traditional model, working for a paycheck, getting raises, and seeking job security. While Poor Dad had a stable job and a steady income, he also struggled financially because he followed the same pattern that most people do, relying on his job as his primary source of income without focusing on building assets that could eventually lead to financial independence. Another important lesson in this chapter is that taking risks and learning from mistakes is crucial to success. Rich Dad emphasized that making mistakes and learning from them is part of building financial intelligence. He explained that people who are afraid to take risks or make mistakes often miss out on opportunities that could lead to wealth. This is another reason why the rich don't work for money. They are willing to take calculated risks and invest in opportunities that have the potential to grow their wealth. Whereas many people play it safe by working for a salary and avoiding risks. Rich Dad wanted Kiyosaki to understand that mistakes are part of the learning process and that the real failure is in not taking action at all. The chapter concludes with Kiyosaki reflecting on how this lesson influenced his later financial decisions. He began to see that the real power lay in developing his financial intelligence and building a mindset that could identify opportunities for wealth creation. This meant learning how to manage his emotions, take calculated risks, and look beyond the security of a paycheck to find ways to build assets that would eventually allow him to stop working for money altogether. In summary, Chapter 2 of Rich Dad, Poor Dad teaches a vital principle: the rich don't work for money. They make money work for them. By focusing on financial education, controlling emotions, and recognizing the difference between assets and liabilities, anyone can begin to break free from the cycle of working for a paycheck and start on the path toward financial independence. The chapter underscores the importance of mindset in determining financial success and encourages readers to think differently about their approach to work, money, and investing.